Hello and welcome to another retrospective video of an iconic adventure game franchise. In my previous videos we have followed the history of Revolution Software with its first ever adventure game Lure of the Temptress of 1992. That game paved the way for the studio both on a narrative perspective as it helped the team to learn the ropes of the genre and also on the technology side as Revolution created their signature adventure game engine Virtual Theater. All those played a crucial role on the company's next adventure game, Beneath a Steel Sky. The game is considered a cult classic of the genre's golden age and, along with the studio's other famous IP, The Broken Sword, compete for the title of Revolution Software's magnum opus. The game evolved into a series recently as we had its sequel more than 25 years after the first game was released. Beneath a Steel Sky is a cyberpunk science fiction point-and-click adventure game developed by the British developer Revolution Software and published by Virgin Interactive Entertainment for the MS-DOS and the Amiga in 1994. The plot is set in a dystopian future where the planet has been devastated by pollution and nuclear fallout, transforming the lands into barren wastelands. Humanity is concentrated in megacities solely owned by corporations, whereas the less fortunate roam the polluted wilderness known as the Gap. Robert Foster, an orphan and sole survivor of a helicopter crash in the land of Australia, had been adopted and raised by local Aboriginals who lived in the Gap. He grows to be a man with all the skill set and knowledge to survive in the unforgiving terrain. Over the years, Foster learns engineering and technology and builds a talking sentient robot called Joy. Joy's personality is stored on a small circuit board which can easily be inserted and removed from many types of robots. One day, an attack helicopter with armed officers from the nearby megacity called Union City attacks the tribe that Foster was a member of, annihilating everyone and abducting Foster and his robot. As they approach the Union City, a mechanical malfunction causes the helicopter to crash at the city's upper level. Robert Foster survives the crash and escapes. His goal is to escape the city and find out the truth behind the city's megacomputer link or logical interneural connection that controls every aspect of Union City's and the citizen's life. This backstory of the game is shown in a magnificent introduction utilizing a comic or graphic novel style typical of Dave Gibbons, the man behind the artwork of The Watchmen, who was the co-producer of the game. Beneath a Steel Sky is a typical 2D adventure game played from a third-person perspective. The player controls the protagonist, Robert Foster, through a point-and-click interface. To solve puzzles and progress the game, the player collects items that may be combined with one another and used on the environment or NPCs. Conversations are represented in dialogue trees and following on the Sierra Online's adventure game style of that era, death is possible, which results in the need to load a saved game. The idea for the game belongs to Revolution Software's co-founder Charles Cecil back when he was still working for Activision. He was a big fan of Dave Gibbons' work on The Watchmen and had approached him to work together in a computer game. Gibbons was interested in that idea after watching his son playing video games. He wanted to create a narrative link between the genres of comic books and video games. In the meantime, Cecil left Activision to form Revolution Software with Tory Warriner and others, but maintained contact with Gibbons. Shortly before the company's first game, Lure of the Temptress, was released, he contacted Gibbons again with his idea of a cyberpunk adventure game and the artist joined the project. The production began just before Lure of the Temptress hit the shelves, and the success of that game made the team to scale up their project with a vision to create a game 6 times larger. Beneath a Steel Sky was split into sections which had to be completed and perfected before moving on to the next one. The game's backgrounds were drawn by Dave Gibbons in pencil and then sent to Revolution to be digitized and scaled down to accommodate for a 320 by 200 pixels resolution, the standard for the personal computers of that time. Character sprites were also designed by Gibbons using Deluxe Paint, a popular and powerful software that it is known today as the Photoshop of the 90s. The dialogues were handled by Dave Cummins, who was also responsible for the game's musical score. With regards to the game script, Cecil and Cummins wanted to have a balance between Sierra Online's serious stories and the slapstick comedy of LucasArts games. Beneath a Steel Sky utilized Revolution Software's signature adventure game engine called Virtua Theater, the second game to do so. The main feature of that engine, the ability to have characters on screen that would move independently of the protagonist's actions and move on with their tasks, seemed ideal for the game's settings and style. However, Tony Wariner, Revolution's co-founder and main programmer, and his team had to upgrade Virtua Theater to version 2 to accommodate for the game's non-linear nature and object-oriented interaction between the collected items and the environment. Beneath a Steel Sky was released in a floppy disk version for the Amiga and the PC and a CD-ROM one for the latter that included full voice support. Initially, stage actors were hired for the recordings, but Cecil was not satisfied with the results and re-recorded every line of the game utilizing voice actors instead. The game's package included, other than a whopping number of 15 3.5-inch floppies, a comic book created by Dave Gibbons to further expand on the game's world and setting. It was critically acclaimed when released, reaching top 10 sales positions in multiple markets. It sold overall more than 300,000 copies, making it an instant hit. The game was praised for its story, stunning visuals, and challenging but excellently designed puzzles. There were some early discussions for a sequel, but the success of Revolution's next game, Broken Sword: The Shadow of the Templars, led the studio to develop that series into a multi-sequel franchise instead. There were enhanced versions of Beneath a Steel Sky created for modern platforms like the iOS, and some of these versions even featured new animations and clips by Dave Gibbons that expanded on the game's story and character. Charles Cecil had stated back in 2004 that the company was still interested in developing a sequel to Beneath a Steel Sky. The success of the crowdfunding campaign for the fifth installment of the Broken Sword series made the company to begin an early planning for the Beneath a Steel Sky 2 as it was known back then. The game entered production in 2014 but took Revolution Software 6 years to complete it. Beyond the Steel Sky is a cyberpunk science fiction adventure game developed by Revolution Software and published by Microids in 2020 for multiple systems like the PC, PlayStation, Xbox and Nintendo Switch, and a sequel to Beneath a Steel Sky. The plot takes place roughly 10 years after the events of the first game. Robert Foster lives in the Gap while he had lost track of his robot friend Zoe after the ending of Beneath a Steel Sky. An unknown vehicle attacks his village and kidnaps a young boy called Milo. As Foster tracks down the kidnappers, he sees that the vehicle returned to Union City. His task is to enter the mega city again and find out what happened to Milo. There, he will discover a much larger plot that takes place as a massive AI system called Minos seems to control every aspect of the city's life. Minos has taken over after the defeat of Link and seems to be connected with the city's council. The city council consists of 5 ministries that cover aspiration, comfort, plenty, safety, and well-being of the citizens. The game is a 3D adventure game where the player can roam freely into the game's environment and interact with it while collecting objects and conversing with NPCs. Early on, Foster also gets a hacking device which can assist him to hack into the various systems that Minos controls. This device plays a crucial role in the gameplay of the title throughout its story. Whenever characters or objects that he can interact with are close enough, they are highlighted. When the mouse is passed over them, a number of available options appear to interact with them. While talking to characters, there are always multiple dialogue options. New topics appear on the right-hand side while explored ones stay on the left. The development of the game was a lengthy one, as the team had to drop their established video game engine Virtua Theater and opt for the popular Unreal 4 engine to accommodate for the 3D environments and characters of it. The animation style is cel-shaded 3D graphics including comic book style text boxes. The game was met with mixed reviews by fans and critics and has a 70% Metascore. It can be enjoyed even if you haven't played the first game, while there are numerous returning characters and references to Beneath a Steel Sky. It remains respectful to the series and the evolution of the adventure game genre. My main issue with it though is that it relies a lot on the minus hacking system when it could have more independent puzzles designed. To me, this seems like a cheap shortcut in the overall design of the game. Other than that, it is a nice game to revisit the universe of the series and watch the evolution of the characters. Cecil's signature writing style is ever present and the topics and themes utilized are quite relevant today. That was the full history of Beneath a Steel Sky and its sequel. The first game especially is considered today a cult classic of the genre with its stunning visuals and magnificent story. The game evolved after several decades and brought us a modern sequel that may be a nice experience but is far from memorable compared to its predecessor. Still though, the fact that Revolution still stands behind its franchises and continues to modernize them and make them relevant is something that deserves our support. I suggest you try both games, especially if you are a Cyberpunk fan and like deep stories and nicely evolved characters. Do not forget to watch my many retrospectives on iconic franchises like Loom, King's Quest, Space Quest, Gabriel Knight and more. You can also find my 2-hour documentary on the rise and fall of the genre. If you like the content of my channel, please consider supporting it by subscribing and turning on the notifications for it to know when a new video is up. You can also consider supporting me by becoming a member of my YouTube channel. There is one membership tier and you will have a lot of benefits like exclusive updates on upcoming videos, you get to watch each new video earlier, you get to decide the topic of upcoming videos, and also member exclusive giveaways that will follow. We will have the next adventure game video soon. Thank you all for watching.